Hi, Tom here, and in this week's new video I'll show you one way to draw blocks using 2-point perspective based on the Jenga game. Most of this drawing is in 2-point perspective, but a few of the blocks are in 1-point perspective. First, draw a horizontal line above the middle of your page. Next, draw 2 marks, one on the left and one on the right, for the 2 vanishing points for the main tower block in the centre of this drawing. Now draw a vertical line in the middle of your page. Next, draw a line from the top of this vertical line to the left vanishing point, and another from the base of the vertical line, also to the same left vanishing point. These 2 lines represent parallel lines but due to perspective they look like they meet at the horizontal line at the point of the vanishing point. We can draw 2 more lines to the right vanishing point. Again, these are 2 parallel lines as it were, but due to perspective they go all the way to the vanishing point as if they meet. Now we can draw a vertical line on the right between the 2 diagonal lines to show where the tower ends on the right hand side, and then we can draw another vertical line on the left of the centre to where the basic tower block ends on the left. Now we can divide this tower into multiple floors or layers. Start by making even spaces along the central vertical line, and then we can draw from these marks to the right vanishing point some straight lines going all the way to the right vanishing point. And then we can also join all of these marks to the left vanishing point on the left hand side too. So in this drawing, in any drawing in perspective, you have the horizon line, and anything above the horizon line we're looking up at, and anything below the horizon line, the horizontal line, we're looking down at. So in this tower we're looking up at the top, but we're looking down at the bottom. We're looking 2 different ways at the same time. We're also looking left to the left vanishing point, and we're looking right to the right vanishing point. Now we can erase some of the lines around the basic block and straighten any lines that we need to, so that we can see the basic shape that we've drawn. This line is just above the horizontal line, the horizon line. Now we can divide each side of the basic tower block with 2 vertical lines on the right and 2 vertical lines on the left. These lines will be helpful as they will make the tower block into a Jenga block, which each individual block within this bigger block will be 3 by 1 in proportion. To draw the first individual block at the top, we can erase these 2 lines on the right to make the block 3 squares long, and then draw a line from this point on the left, underneath the block as it were, all the way to the vanishing point on the right. And then at the end of the block on the right, that line needs to go to the vanishing point on the left. So lines on the left need to go to the vanishing point on the right, and lines on the right need to go to the vanishing point on the left. So as we draw the individual blocks, we can find all of the lines that we need just by using diagonal lines that either go to the right or the left vanishing points. We don't need any more horizontal, just diagonal lines to make all the blocks. But make sure that each block is 3 squares long and 1 square wide, so that they're all in the same proportion. As we draw, it's helpful to make the worked out lines slightly darker than the lines that we drew earlier on, so that we can see how the tower unfolds and we can keep track of what we're doing. All of these shapes are within the basic tower block that we drew at the beginning of this drawing, and all we're doing is marking some of the lines darker and adding new diagonal lines to the vanishing points on the left and the right. As we continue to draw these blocks going down the tower, we could consider how to keep the basic tower in balance. It helps, I think, to try and visualize the individual blocks within the bigger basic tower, to sort of see the blocks before you draw them, to imagine how the blocks are in 3 dimensions and then draw them to sort of pull them out as a drawing. Because by following perspective, we're able, I think, to more easily imagine 3D objects and then draw them using the vanishing points of perspective as a guide for our imagination. I also want to add some more blocks outside this main tower block, but not parallel to the block, and because they're not going to be parallel to the block, we don't want to use the 2 vanishing points that we have, because we're going to be looking at these new individual blocks in a different direction. So they're coming from a different direction, and therefore they need their own individual one point perspective point. So we can draw each block in 1 point perspective, which is outside the main block, as they are not connected to the main shape. So if you draw a single vanishing point here, and from this point we can draw a new block which looks like it's coming forwards towards us but getting smaller as it goes away from us, and the lines getting smaller as they go away from us will taper all the way to the new vanishing point. By adding these falling blocks, we can make a more dynamic drawing, as we are seeing shapes that look 3D but from multiple directions at the same time. So there are lots of things going on in our drawing at the same time. We can add more of these falling blocks, but each of the new blocks that we add needs to have its own single vanishing point, which doesn't make any connection to any of the other shapes in the drawing. So it's an individual vanishing point for each of these falling blocks. Make sure that the vanishing points that you use for these falling blocks are not on the horizontal horizon line. Perspective enables us to give the illusion of depth in a drawing, and that can create a lot of space and a dynamic quality. Once you have the blocks that you want where you want them, you might need to make some of them a little bit shorter. This is due to foreshortening, so as something goes away from you, the length of the shape will look shorter when it's seen from this angle. So I'm just going to change some of them a little bit so that they look right in relation to the main tower block, so they don't look overly too long. Now to finish this drawing, I'll add some tonal value. For this drawing, I'm using a 4B pencil. So that is a simple way to draw a tower block based on the Jenga game of wooden blocks. I am grading some of the tone dark to light, just by pressing the pencil, the 4B pencil that I'm using for this drawing, pressing it harder to softer to get a graded effect. Also using a white pencil as I'm drawing on a slightly grey piece of paper, so the white will show up a little bit. We have used 2-point perspective for most of this drawing, but we've also used 1-point perspective for the individual falling blocks, which each of them have their own individual 1 point. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful for your own drawings. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Circle Line Art School, to keep up to date with all of the content I create. I post a new video every Saturday. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.